Can you guys hear me? There we go. I had myself muted. Hope everyone's been doing well. It's been when was the last time I did a live stream? The last time I did a live stream was uh, 7 months ago. So it's been a minute, but my girlfriend's out of town. I thought it'd be kind of fun to do a live stream. You can see I'm holding the microphone because I can't find the stand. So out of practice, but still out here kicking. Um, yeah, man. Hola, Senor. Oh, did I forgot the did I forget the I? Uh, Senor, Senor, Senor Delon. Oh, Senor. Dude, you'd be so surprised how often I do that. I'm good, man. How is everyone doing, man? My dogs are getting a little crazy because it's storming around here, but life is good, man. I have no real complaints. I've been enjoying my uh what did I put on my GitHub? If you go to my GitHub, I'll share it in the chat. You can check it out. Uh, I did one of those custom profiles on GitHub, which are really easy to do. You should definitely do it. When I work with my mentees to make sure they do this, but I do. I have senior front end engineer at ClickUp and X Amazon, off 1% mentor at Mentor Cruise, retired software content creator at YouTube, Udemy, W3 Schools, and LinkedIn. Not fully retired. We got some things in the works. But yeah, I'll be doing an update to the W3 Schools TypeScript course this weekend. Or the girlfriend's out of town, and I just signed a contract, or rather, I'm going to sign a contract with Educative.io to do a course for them. So, uh, yeah, man, still retired, but in the meantime, enjoying life to the fullest. You know, no real complaints. I I've been thinking about reaching out to Eric about maybe continuing the podcast. Every once in a while, we talk about it, but I've trouble justifying it or sticking with it, and I don't wanna loop him in until I'm ready to commit to like 10 episodes. But we'll see. I feel like there's a lot to talk about lately. There's layoffs. There was AI. Uh, uh, job jumping a little bit. Although I feel like we've talked about jumping jobs forever. Um, Michael, how's your blog going? Are you still blogging? I know you were for a while. Master of the Match. I remember you saying that you had some vision issues. I'm sorry that you know it's gotten worse. I wish you the best in whatever you choose to do. Yeah, I can't even believe I'm on here honestly because I'm pretty tired. I can't really talk about what I've been working on, but we've been making a strong push at work lately. Uh, you were watching me when you started watching me when I was an intern making $18 an hour. It's kind of wild, man. I the name looks familiar. I apologize if I don't remember everybody. Uh, but uh, yeah, man, it's if you go back and go to my YouTube, like the videos on the YouTube channel, I think you can go to, like, what the oldest videos are. Uh, can you do maybe you can't go back to the oldest, but the oldest videos I have are, like, you know, scrolling down, right? So, uh, dude, I used to be so skinny. What happened, man? I'm, like, scrolling and I'm seeing some of some of these old videos. I'm like, "Damn, man." When that when that poverty was really kicking in, uh, it's if you can't afford food, you really gotta go on a diet whether you choose to or not. Uh, yeah, man, let's see here. Okay, so I'm scrolling, we're at 7 years. 7 years ago, I was doing free code camp tutorials. Uh, yeah, 7 years ago, I was doing, Code Academy tutorials. Alright, 8 years ago is my first Code Academy tutorial update. That's wild, man. I mean, I know it all makes sense, but I've been in Florida for 7 years, and I started about a year before, but, you know when I was doing tutorials, I think I was delivering pizza. I was making probably less than $18 an hour working at, uh Domino's, man. So, seems like you're mainly coasting now? Uh, yeah, man, I wouldn't say I'm coasting. I work at a unicorn startup, so I'm doing some hard work and things are going well. Um, I'm on that stock option life, so, like, you know, IPO time, if that all pays off, I'll do a little celebration live stream. Uh, but yeah, man, life's good. I have no real complaints. All the and if there's one thing I'd replace coasting. I know you're not, like, trying to call me slack or anything, but all the hard work I've done up until this point has paid off. Like, I have a rental property. Uh, I had to buy a car, like, a month ago. I bought a brand new car cash for 43 grand. Like, it's wild, dude. It's, things are going well. You know, uh 6, 7 years ago, first thing I did when I got down to Florida was I paid off my debt, I saved a rainy day fund, I followed the Dave Ramsey plan, um, and yeah, man. So, like, in that, it's all done well, and I accomplished my goal of going to FANG, and now it's just like, yeah, I'm just working as a senior engineer, working on getting that staff title, eventually, so I, uh I'm happy, man. It's like it all paid off, I'm still collecting royalties from things, I still do a project here or there, um but yeah, I definitely don't work like I used to. I don't have it in me. And the truth of the matter is my current girlfriend wouldn't put up with it, right? So, like, when I was dating April, she was there in the grind for me. Cat not to say the cat's not in there for the grind, but she's like, you know, she's like, "We need to spend time together. What are you doing?" Like, what are you working 80 hours a week for nowadays? Like, I thought we made it. So now it's just like I work a normal job, and every once in a while I pick up a project here or there. But yeah, man, the one thing I do all the time is I mentor. So I usually have about 3 to 5 mentees at a time on mentor crews, that I meet with on a weekly basis and then asynchronously through chat. And that's been really well. I just hit 60 five-star reviews. I have a perfect five-star record. I'm one of the top 1% mentors on the platform, and it's very, very fulfilling. Like, I kinda when I started doing, some of these, like, live Q&As, the things I really liked was, like, answering questions and helping people accomplish their goals. And it's just that on a more, personal level. And so, uh, you know if you're interested in it, shameless plug, link in the description below. I still got it. See, I still got the YouTube chops. Like and subscribe, you know? Um, every once in a while, I think about coming back to YouTube, just to get an extra 20,000 subs so that I can, so that I can go get the silver play button. That's my ego talking though. Like, um, but yeah, I'm happy, man. I have a very smart, beautiful girlfriend who treats me decently well, and, she has a great family. I'm probably gonna wife her up, so figuring all that out. Um, I gotta work on myself a little bit. I have a little bit of a commitment issue type dude in some ways when it comes to marriage. I don't know quite yet why. Um, but yeah, man, lots of W's. I'm happy. Uh, yeah, so do I like squirrels? I love squirrels. We have some squirrels that steal the mangoes. I think they're mangoes from my neighbor's front yard. And I see them. They're big too. Carry them up to the tree all the time. I have about maybe 8 trees on my property, at my on my house, like, on my at my house. I cut down a few recently, but the squirrels are we got tons of squirrels and all that sort of stuff that are yanking fruit off trees, and my dogs are going crazy chasing them. But yeah, Chris, I'm glad that you're able to stay motivated, and that's the thing I really try to hone in on anybody who's trying to break into software is if you take the approach of it's just a matter of one step forward every day and, consistent mental diet and exercise. That's really what it is. It's like if anybody in here right now this wants to be like a sexy beast, diet and exercise every day for a couple hours every day. Eventually, you'll be a sexy beast. The same thing with your career. Like if you just work on it every single day for hours every day, there's zero chance you're not going to accomplish your goal. It may not be as fast as you want. It may not be as successful as you want initially, but like what you really just need to know is that like you need to get into that sort of scorched earth, like nothing else matters, until this is mission accomplished, right? Like, it has to be kind of a crusade, and, Dave Ramsey says gazelle intensity, and it's definitely the way I think you can go and accomplish this. As far as cybersecurity, it's not something I know too much about. There's definitely a lot of cybersecurity professionals, so there's jobs in it. It's it seems interesting to start that as your career. I think of that as kind of something that you would transition into. Right? The same way it's kinda the same way I think about DevOps. I don't think anyone goes and gets their first job in DevOps. I think they go and they get, like, a junior software engineer role and somehow transition into DevOps. So, yeah, that I don't know, but yeah, thanks, Chris. I appreciate the support and whatnot. Um, when is the first time you learned programming? The first time I touched HTML and CSS, I was in high school. I was freshman in high school, and I built a couple websites, and I was really big into journalism, and so there's, like, uh at the time, I was building, like, memes. I the memes meme wasn't a term yet, but I was building, like, memes, and I was doing, like, joke articles, and I would write fucking cringy ass articles, like, who had the better butts, the cheerleaders or the, dance squad and shit like that, and I wrote this, like, 2, 3-page, thing about how the school sucked. I basically wrote, like, you know, just, 3 pages of, like, why the school was terrible, and, uh, anyhow, someone sent it to the superintendent, and, I probably built, like I worked on this thing every day after school for, like, probably, like, 3 months. HTML, CSS, writing articles, making icons, uploading pictures of my friend Nam's dragons and shit like that that he would draw, and anyhow, so they sent it over, uh they sent it over to the, superintendent, who then called me into a meeting with the principal and all this sort of shit about the article, and then, they basically told my mom, I was gonna get in trouble, and if I didn't take it down, and I refused to. And so she called I think it was GoDaddy is who the web she called the web hosting company, said her son stole her credit card, which is bullshit. And then they deleted the site. And then I didn't touch, uh, anything web related for another I completely killed the passion in me. And so as maybe what are you, like, 14 around there? I didn't write a line of actual code until I was in college around, like, 25. And then maybe 3 years later, I dropped out and I, went the self-taught route. I remember, this is what Chris says, I remember my girlfriend at the time wanting to spend more time together because I was only focused on building out a few projects for my first full-time job for a few months to be more employable. Yeah, man. I mean, this is the thing is, like, when I started out, I deleted all my video games, I deleted, yeah, I didn't have any, like, subscriptions to anything, I didn't hang out with friends, it's just that. Uh, Life's been good, Jose, man. I've no complaints, man. I've been you know, so those of you who don't know, I'm in Florida. I'm a Florida man. I consider myself a native now. Now my anyone can claim native status in a state, I believe, if they are paying property taxes. So now that I pay property taxes, I am a native. I've been here for 7 years. Um, but uh, anyhow, I've gone full Florida man. So I go on cruises like once every 5 months, if not less than that. So I want to say the first cruise I went on was right before I started my Amazon job, and I've never looked back. I've been going on, you know, cruises left and right. I absolutely love it, man. I've gone on Royal Caribbean, I've gone on Celebrity, Princess Cruise Lines. Like, Princess is probably my favorite one. Uh, yeah, man, I'm looking at this thing called a cruise tour where you do, like, 5 or 6 days on land. Uh, you do you do, like, 5 or 6 days on land, and you're going to a bunch of hotels and stuff, and then you, go and do a regular cruise after. I haven't tried Norwegian yet. Honestly, Princess was baller, and I just went a month ago on, like, a little 4-day one. Most of them that I go on are about 6 days, and, Princess was great, but the Royal Caribbean surprised me. It was definitely a little bit part of the reason I like Princess part of the reason, I like Princess is, it's just it's more my speed crowd, man. I, uh I don't I'm not a big drinker, I'm not like, you know, I just like we're my girlfriend and I are some of the youngest people on there, on Princess, at least. So, uh, I look like Elon Musk. I've had a lot of people say that. I think we just both have, like, hairlines that we're going or something, or, like, my girlfriend says I don't have any eyebrows, so, like, maybe Elon doesn't have any eyebrows also. Uh, f Fighting crocodiles? No, I'm not fighting crocodiles. Not yet. Not that full Florida man. Uh, alright, you had your fun, baby girl, get down. Ugh. Uh, but what about Disney Pass? I don't like Disneyland, man. I my girlfriend loves it. Whole family is, like, super strange into Disney. Like, her aunt and uncle who are in their early 40s, like, go, like, every other week, I feel like. They're very nice people, but it's very strange to me. Um, the grandparents go, the grandchildren go, aunts and uncles go. They're like the whole young clan is a Disney family. Uh, so I've committed to my girlfriend because I hate it. I just don't like theme parks. I don't like roller coasters, I don't like theme parks, but I've committed my girlfriend to go about once a year. That's basically it. Occasionally, I'll go, they invited us to, like, this Hilton timeshare. It wasn't Hilton, but I don't know, it's the biggest timeshare in the country, in Orlando, and that was fun. We did that, and we went to Disneyland and stuff like that. So, if it's like a family event, I'll go, or I went for my girlfriend's birthday recently. She was turning 27, and I was like, "Alright, sure, I'll go, it's your birthday." That would be our one trip, but yeah, man. I don't like it, man. I don't like the heat. Like, I'm one of those people that when it starts getting hot, I just crash. Do I still work at Amazon? No, I worked at Amazon for about a year and a half, and I left to go to the company I'm at currently, ClickUp, and which is a, unicorn company, and I've been there for, I wanna say a year, 4 months, something like that. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just if you don't like heat, you don't like walking around, you don't like overpriced things, you don't like roller coasters, I feel like you don't like theme parks. Like, I like water parks 'cause it takes away the heat, and I find those to be more fun, but she doesn't like water parks, but they love it. I don't get it, man. I don't, but it's alright. I don't have to get it. Yeah, it's just, not what I would do with my time, but yeah, Steven, here's the thing, man. Uh, we even get, like, the fast pass stuff. More serious question. Are you worried about AI stealing programmers' job? No, I'm not. So this is why. Um, basically, what can AI do? Ultimately, um, ultimately, you can AI just compiles things that it knows. So a lot of what you work on as an engineer is closed source, and um, you don't, and the bit and very heavy in business requirements. So I'll give you an example, just a few high level things that about where I work is we have different roles, we have different plans, we have different paywalls, we have different attributes, databases, we have different APIs, all of these things, and we have lots of business logic. It's very complex. I just don't believe that AI in my career lifetime is gonna be able to fulfill that need. I think there might be some low level stuff, but there's always been low level stuff. There's always been like, "Oh, hey, build like a landing page." You could have done that 5 years ago. That's what whole businesses are about. That's what Shopify is about, right? That's what WordPress is about. And that's also why I've said like, "Hey, don't go into WordPress because you're competing at the lowest level." Right? I don't wanna be competing with people halfway across the world for, um, uh, the pennies. I'm trying to make dollars, right? I'm trying to gain in-depth skills. I just don't think AI is there. Now, I've used AI for writing and things like that. And I find it very helpful, and I think it's a very powerful tool, and I think it has its point and purpose. But if you're saying like, "Oh, hey, am I going to absolutely replace an engineer's job that way?" I don't think so. Listen, man, I promise you, if AI was here to steal my job today, I wouldn't have one. You know, I I can go in my DMs on LinkedIn and pull up 10 jobs right now that pay anywhere from 150 to $200,000 that they're saying in the job description. And the truth of the matter is, if AI could do my job for 200,000 base, and not counting benefits, not counting all the other extracurricular. Let's say the company is paying you 200 grand for base salary, then you have equity, Then you have then you have benefits, then you have, like, they have to send you laptops, you have to go if you do an office, that $200,000 employee probably cost the business half $1,000,000 with stock options or with RSUs and things like that, or maybe 400,000. They would replace you in an instant with a 400,000, if they could. That's $400,000 to save to a business, you know? It is what it is, and these things don't happen overnight also, like, uh, it's a transition process. Let's take a quick example of hardware replacing people. You have hardware that's been replacing, cashiers forever, still cashiers, right? Like, and this is something that's a much more detailed detailed, you know, the cashier's job hasn't really changed in, I don't know, 100 years, right? You're other than, like, checking people out. Uh, but there's machines that can do that, but not they haven't all been replaced, right? And things change also, right? Now you have cashiers who manages the self-checkout, things like that. So, no, I'm not a doomsdayer. Literally 7 years ago before AI was a thing, people were saying, like, "Are you worried about the sky is falling?" And I kept telling you is, "Don't worry about when the sky is falling. Like, just keep going." Like, here's the thing is, if let's say a year from now, for whatever reason, or in the next 5 years, my profession is eliminated 5 years from now. Okay, that sucks. Well, I guess I'm gonna figure it out, right? Like, I'm gonna be in a good enough position that I will retrain myself. I'll go and become an electrician or something. I don't know what I'll do, but I'll figure it out, right? So, it doesn't you know, there are some industries that are, hey, I might actually wanna worry about that. Um, I don't think we're there. We might be there one day, but not anytime soon. I remember back in the day, you're saying you're living like a king in Tampa with a 120K salary. Do you still think it'd be the same given you came to Tampa a few years later, due to COVID, rent, et cetera? Yeah, I think you just have to decide where you wanna live. Like, what type of life you wanna live, right? So, um, you know, I bought my first home I'm by the beach now. I'm a, like, quarter mile from the beach. You could walk there if you wanted to. But my first home, that's a rental now, I bought in a place called Rusk. Never heard of Rusk. It's 20 miles south of Tampa. It's in between 2 bridges. It's in the middle of nowhere. The only thing in Ruskin is brand new 7-Elevens they're building and brand new church, and then new construction. That's the only thing there. But I said, "Hey, I'll commute to work. I'll save. I want it as cheap of a house I can, and I just won't have, like, some of the amenities, like eating out." Every time I wanted to go take my girlfriend to dinner, I had to drive 40 minutes to go, to Tampa, basically. How much does your YouTube channel created monetarily confuse? Um, Nowadays, it makes me only like 200 bucks a month in ad revenue, but it has driven a lot of traffic to a lot of other things. The most money I've ever made in a month on YouTube was like 1,400 or $1,500, something like that. Um, but since I've stopped doing it the last 2, 3 years, it's got dwindled down to about 200. But I would say on average, it was making like $500-600. That was kind of the steady amount when I was doing it. But I've made a lot of money from the courses. I've made money from the mentoring, affiliate links, all that sort of stuff. Not to mention how it's helped my career as well. So like I saying, you'd be better be a coal miner than a programmer. Okay. Is it worth taking advantage of stock options if a company is private? So my advice about stock options, I have stock options on my current work. And some of them are vested, some are not. So for those of you who don't know, basically stock options, kind of what they do is they give you a right to buy a stock at a certain price. there's a couple ways to come up with, like, the valuation of the stock, all that sort of stuff, but, you know, so if my right to buy the stock is at $5 and then when the company IPOs or whatnot, or the company value goes up, let's say the value of the stock is 50, and they said, "Hey, we'll give you 1,000 pieces of stock at $5." I can buy that $50 stock for 5, but I'll make $45 on each one of those 1,000, right? So, uh, is my mic not doing too well? Yeah, sorry. This is kind of an impromptu thing. I apologize if this audio is terrible. But yeah, part of maybe hopefully that's a little better. Um, but yeah, so my advice to you is unless you're leaving the company, don't buy your stock options, because you could also just be wasting money. So what you could do is if the company is gonna go public soon, you could just wait it out or buy them if it's, like, in the clear, because typically you can get information about the financials of the company with the stock option. But I wouldn't buy them ahead of time unless it's a very small amount. So why do software engineers often change their jobs? Usually every 2 or 3 years instead of working over 5 years like in other jobs? Well, the average engineer changed jobs even more than that, 18 months, last I saw. And typically it's because that's the quickest way to get your income up as well as your skill up. I have in 7 years had 6 jobs, I wanna say. I have to go back and count it. Let's see, there was VATC, It Works, Symphonic Distribution, PwC, Amazon, ClickUp. So, yeah, I've had 6 jobs in 7 years, and every one of those jobs I left for a pay raise and to go and grow my skill set. So if I felt like I wasn't growing anymore, and there was an opportunity, then I'd go see it elsewhere. And so it's what's in your best interest. By jumping jobs, especially early on in your career. Now I'm kind of at a spot where, you kinda write it out a little bit, you go and get staff from senior, stuff like that. Um, but you do that for the pay increases. We also do it for the skill increases because every time you go to a new job, you have the luxury of gaining what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong at each individual location. I've been wanting to say this for a long while. You have been an example of going for a goal no matter what. I have followed you since pizza delivery days. Thank you, man. I talked to Kat about this um, about going and working part-time at a pizza place, and she thinks I'm an idiot. But it's like there's something so nostalgic about it. I'm not going to do it because it doesn't make any sense. I don't have any time. But I do think about it. I kinda daydream in the car, like, you drive by Domino's, like, "Huh, maybe once." Well, thank you, balloon attic. Is there still hope for someone to be purely front end? Absolutely. In fact, most of my, mentees I work with start off purely front end. We used to talk about big pay increases when switching jobs. I couldn't even believe it sometimes because it didn't seem plausible for consecutive big jumps like that. Well, what do you think is plausible now? Now that you've been a couple of years? Dylan, do you see fear of I think you mean being a manager in the majority of programmers? I heard this from a manager friend of mine. He said programmers are scared of dealing with people. I think it's an overgeneralization. I particularly don't want to be a manager, um, but it doesn't mean people don't want to do it. Do you miss your employees when you keep changing jobs? I mean, I wouldn't say I miss them. I mean, I've made friends. I've stayed in touch digitally. You know, this is my 3rd job I've basically worked remote. Uh, so yeah. I don't know. What stack am I working with? I'm doing front end. I'm working in Angular and TypeScript. I've changed companies only 2 times, and I'm making almost 3 times as much as when I started. I only have 3.5 years of full-time experience. There you go. Yeah, I think the thing, Chris, I would emphasize to you is control your lifestyle creep. Just be smart with that pay increase, and you'll do quite well for yourself. Well, Jose, I'm glad to try and guide you as much as I can. Um, you know, and if you want some guidance for the low price of $550 a month, Mentor Cruise slash Del Zero. I don't know. That's not the link. The link's in the description. Um, but yeah, no. Uh, oh man. Let me turn on the fan real quick. Uh, Good man. Yeah, because being smart with your money is the other thing. It doesn't really matter how much money you make. You'd still be broke. uh, what's harder, front end or back end? I don't know that one's harder than the other. I think you have different concerns. Kind of depends on what you're working on. So I was just kidding. I was saying you don't. Worry. I'm not here to actually uh, go and force my mentoring on you. Um, yeah. Ooh-wee. Yeah, man. Life's good, man. Life is the next major career goal I have. I guess is just to become a staff engineer. I'm currently a team lead. I'm using quotes because it's my soft title. Uh, Leading lots of projects, all that sort of stuff. Honestly, I'm soloing the shit ton of projects, man. Um, so, but one day, yeah. Here's the thing too. I'd be happy to go and get promoted and stuff like that, but I don't know that I would feel any more fulfilled. Like, I think that's one thing that I'm like as I'm getting older. So I'm 35. I'll be 36 in October. Um, that I gotta figure out what's gonna make me feel fulfilled. And making money's good, and I encourage all of you to, like, strive for that and be smart with that, and, um, so, um, but, past a certain point, you guys sort of figure out what is it that you want out of your life. So, you want marriage? Do you want kids? Do you wanna be a very involved father? Do you wanna be sort of hands-off father? Do you wanna, be a big family man? You know, I don't know. These are all questions that I never had answers for. So, you know, yeah, gonna have to have some answers pretty soon, man. My girlfriend and I have been dating for, man, 2.5 years now, I guess. Time flies. But, yeah, I don't know. How important is a portfolio as you move from one job to the next? As you move from one if you already have a job, portfolio doesn't matter. I don't think portfolio matters much to begin with. I think it's about, a lot about your LinkedIn. I think it's a lot about your resume. Like, the very first 2 or 3 things that I focus on are LinkedIn, resume, GitHub. Those are the things that I focus on with my mentees who are like, because I would say about 3/4 of the mentees I get are people who are in these 2 situations. 1, recent college grad trying to get their first job. 2, a recent boot camp grad trying to get their first job. 3, somebody who hates their current job looking to jump jobs. So and they're already a dev. And then I guess the third is, like, completely self-taught looking at their first job. I'd say that's probably about 90% of the, like, engineers I work with, and the last 10% are people trying to level up and trying to do better. Um, so, yeah, hey, man, just wanna say thank you. Your videos kept me going after I got out of my boot camp. It took 1.5 years before I finally got hired into the tech job. Congratulations. As I've said about this subject, about getting your first dev job will be one of the hardest things you ever have to do, but it'll be worth it. So, congrats, and, that's why I also tell people, like, don't worry about the money in your first dev job. Doesn't matter. What matters is you wanna go from being an unproven asset to a proven asset, and someone paying you a salary to go and do that gives you resume experience, that makes you a proven asset. And so you could be like Chris Clicks here, who 3.5 years later, makes 3 times what he did his first job. How how much are referral networks important in job search? I mean, they help, but lots of people break into the industry and don't have any of that. Like, we all start there some place. I can tell you right now that, I've never once been referred to for a job. I've had people ask me, to come work at their company, but I've never, like, had an inside track to go work with X, Y, and Z. So, man, I, it's been a long, long week at work, so, I just wanna say I appreciate y'all. So a lot of you have come in here, said some very nice things about keeping you motivated, about, saying, "Hey, your videos did this for me, to keep me on the straight and the narrow when I was trying to get my first dev job." And I just I wanted to say that, you know, it's been a long time since I started YouTube. We talked about that about 8 years. Um, no, it's it's not a one-way street. Being on, doing the live streams and doing the videos and stuff like that, and reading the comments, and even though some people leave nasty comments over the years and things like that, is it's always helped me to kind of grow as an engineer, to grow and stay motivated myself. So thank you for that. I wish you all the best. I don't know when I'll do the next live stream, but I just want to say thank you, and I hope you all have a good, wonderful weekend. And for those of you who are thinking about giving up, for those of you that are thinking about, this is hard, it's gonna be hard. That's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with hard. Hard is growth. Growth is challenging. The thing is to expect it, so that when you struggle, it passes through you and you just move forward. So, wish you all the best, and I appreciate you all. All right, have a good weekend. Bye.